Well, Terry, we are live. It's been a while, sir.
It has been a while.
If you could stay put for more than 3 days, that'd be really nice.
Yeah, I'm home for like 4.
Well, that's why we're recording. I mean, that's the only time we can record.
Dude, pre-pandemic, I used to travel the world, man. I'm ready to get back out there.
Well,
Call your local travel agent. Get on the road, man.
according to Dr. Fauci, we are approaching endemic.
Yeah,
So, I mean, maybe that means we can start traveling a little bit more.
yeah. I don't know. I wasn't waiting for his permission, so that's a good thing.
Well, how are things, sir?
Good, man. Just got back from a few days at Walt Disney World, and then a week in Jamaica, Mon. So
Yeah. Did you like the picture I used for
I did not see a picture. I just saw.
Oh, it's the picture of you and your wife
Oh
in front
yeah,
of the
yeah. I saw
castle.
the magic.
Yeah, you need to work on your magic blowing, by the way.
Well, dude, you know that. Boy, that's
I know.
a different show.
Luckily, this isn't part of the podcast. This is just the pre-show.
Those of you who watch the live stream are getting extra today.
I hadn't even
Well,
had
dude, when
any
they
alcohol.
tell you to do that, it's like they never tell you what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's like look down and act surprised, and then you look down and it's like, well, there's a lame cartoon of Simba laying on its back, like. And then they're like, hold your hands out and blow. And I'm like, excuse me, sir? So, yeah.
At least it didn't say.
You know what's
turn your head
interesting
and
about
cough.
that? Was that in front of the exactly? Was that the one in front of the castle?
Yeah, it was.
I don't know if you've seen that series in front of the castle, but there's you get like a bunch of photos of those. I did. Where did we take those?
In
I
front
think
of
we
the
took those
castle.
on like a side of the castle, right?
Right.
I don't know. It was wherever there was a photographer. I was like, sure, take some pictures of me. I just paid for these stupid things. Because it was our first day going where I'd paid for PhotoPass. Because I didn't want to like pay more money for my pass and get less for it. Thanks, Bob.
Hey, I paid for the upcharge.
Yeah, we just did on one of our tickets.
Okay.
They're like, would you like it on both? And I'm like, well, aren't the photos the same? And I'm going to scan my band anyways. Leslie's never in the parks just by herself.
Yeah.
So I'm always, worst case scenario, I tell her to take my band and scan, like take my band and have him scan that. But yeah, so we're doing that, and like we get the pictures, and one of the pictures you get is your photo that they took of you over the fireplace at Cinderella's castle. So like Cinderella's like in her living room.
Just looking at your picture.
Yeah, it's the strangest. I will post it in the group. I'm gonna text it to you now.
Okay.
But I and then we can post it in the group later. But it is the strangest. I don't know if anybody else has got this photo, but it is the strangest. I don't know if there's a way to share photos in this live stream. If I send it to you, you can probably put it in the stream for folks.
Yeah, put it on. Send it to my Facebook Messenger.
All right.
My co-host on the Gold Gal Getaway podcast I do just texted me and said, "Dave, your head looks extra massive tonight." Thanks.
Hey,
Matt.
have you gotten your call, by the way, while we're doing some housekeeping? Did you get your call on your photo to order?
I did.
Okay. You order it?
I did.
Nice. The big one?
No. I wanted to look into the big one, but I went to the place that we were going to put it and measured, and it would probably overtake the room.
Okay.
So I ended up just getting the 18 by 27 one.
Okay.
By the way, I have to show. I wish I could easily show people this, but Terry showed me he sent me pictures of the new Main Street USA 50th anniversary Thomas Kincaid, and for reference, Terry is standing next to the big one, and then he is standing next to the little one, just putting his hands out like this.
Well, just so you could see that reference, like. I was on my way to an undisclosed location at Epcot Center, and so
Does the undisclosed location have 2 numbers?
it does have 2 numbers.
Okay. Are they both the same numbers?
They're both the same numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So not really undisclosed.
Well, I'm just not telling. I'm just not disclosing it. You could disclose it.
Oh, you mean okay?
Yeah. Well, here's this photo. It's the creepiest thing ever. I'm gonna just messenger. I can text it to you, and you can get it to your.
I can't. Oh, fine. Terry's going to be difficult here.
Oh, here we go. Here's Messenger.
Okay, thank you.
Dave Adams. There you go. Send.
Keep in mind, we haven't really started recording the podcast yet, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Holy crap, that is weird.
Okay. It's kind of like, well, I always thought Cinderella was had a bit of stalker behavior.
That's weird.
Yeah, full on. Like, there I am at old Cindy's castle, up on the
Why?
Yeah, this would be like going to somebody's house that you didn't know and seeing your photo on their wall.
I don't know if I like that. Actually,
aside from the fact that it's a picture hanging at her house of somebody else in front of her house.
Why? Bob. Now that you know, that's not Bob. That's Josh.
Dude, I don't know.
Josh, what are you doing?
That's probably some intern and I did just come across those photos of me showing off the Kincaid.
They are quite hilarious.
I'll send those to you, then we can actually record a podcast here. Just if anybody's watching this thing live, I don't know if anybody ever watches this thing live.
We got 3.
There's 3. That's you, somebody's one of our moms.
Yeah.
It possibly could be my mom because my mom apparently has the C. Got that while we were gone, so I guess it's a good thing we didn't go over to pick up the dogs.
Oh no. Oh, by the way, Jeffrey Martin's watching us. Jeffrey, hi.
Is it Jeffrey there?
No, he was just there. In fact, he can't go and not buy me stuff because I see stuff that come out and I see Jeffrey. I didn't know that Jeffrey's at Disney. I said, hey, I need this. So, he went on a search for me.
Dude, speaking of that, you need to Venmo me some money.
I do need to Venmo you some money. Jeffrey says he's in Myrtle Beach now.
Okay, yeah. Punk.
What?
By the way, while I'm sending you these photos here, the fine folks at spiritjersey.com. Good gracious.
Spiritjersey.com?
Whatever the company that makes the Spirit jerseys that all of your wives have to wear.
Yes.
Man, what the heck?
I mean, they're made out of gold, don't you know?
Apparently, good gracious,
they ain't cheap.
What?
Hey, John. John Rogers says, "Hey, kids," even though we can't tell it's him on here. All right, so here's Terry showing off sizes.
Yeah, because they sold out. I went to order it for you, and they were sold out of it.
Yeah. Not like I jetted off to Jamaica or anything. All right, here we go. Here's Terry showing the size of the big one.
Well, I literally just did it. I was like, take the picture just so we can get this quick.
That's funny.
Hey, there was Blanton's waiting for me upstairs.
Oh, well then I totally get it. I totally get that. And then, oh, come on, computer, don't. Did you send me another picture?
I just sent you the piece of art that I got.
Oh, nice. Here's Terry showing off the little one.
Yeah, it just wasn't as impressive. And down below are the really small sizes that you're like, do they have a tiny one? I'm like, yeah, that looks dumb.
Yeah. And then there's what Terry got. That's not Thomas Kincaid, is it?
No, that's Tim Rogerson.
Tim Burton.
Yeah, I just love it, dude. I mean, obviously, the pachyderms here.
Yeah,
I've got lots of elephant, and there was a hippopotamus piece I almost bought too, but the picture was purple.
But that's not a pachyderm at all.
A rhino is a pachyderm.
Okay, well,
hippos, elephants, and rhinoceroses are all they're the 3 pachyderms.
Rhinoceri.
Yep.
I
There's
just
technically like 7 because you count the African, the Asian elephant, the white rhino, the East Forest tree elephant, the
look,
the
a
black
pachyderm's an
rhino.
elephant to me. That's just how I see
Yeah.
it.
What actually makes them pachyderms, Dave, is their thick skin.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
Yes. And oddly enough, the hippopotamus out of all of them is the most lethal.
Yes, but did you know that one of the best drinks at Disney World is the hippopotami?
Yes, I will be having one of those in a week at Disneyland
Oh,
with
Wh-
2 shots of rum.
two. All right, you ready for this? We're gonna start our little countdown and go.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, we'll be back after this song.
This is Top of the World, the Disney Vacation Club podcast. A proud part of the WDW Today and Laugh-O-Gram Studios family. Join us as we talk parks, points, perks, and all things DVC, and how to get the most out of your membership. Here they are, Dave Adams and Terry Weaver.
Well, welcome home. I'm Terry Weaver,
I'm Dave Adams.
and you're listening to Top of the World, the DVC podcast.
Hey, Terry, in our pre-show, you just said that the most lethal pachyderm is the hippopotamus. Actually, I want to correct you on that. The most lethal pachyderm is the Alabama elephant, because Saban murder ball is the best kind of football, and we murder most of our opponents. So just have to throw that out there for you.
Yeah. And I guess since I don't know if we've talked since then, but how was that national championship game?
Honestly, I'm okay with the loss because we
take
didn't have
the L.
we didn't have our top 2 wide receivers.
Oh, now
I mean-
there's the Alabama fan. We're gonna
No.
whine about.
Can you
Didn't have a pony and a
could you expect the
pacifier.
Titans to win without Derrick Henry?
They did better without him than they did with him.
Well, no, that the playoffs was Ryan Tannehill's fault. But
Yeah. Anyways, this isn't a football podcast. Yeah, this may be a baseball podcast sometimes, but
God,
if
this won't
we
be a
ever get
baseball
baseball.
podcast. Yeah, because the Braves and Major League Baseball just make me mad. By the way, did you see the news that came out today about Major League Baseball?
No.
The season, when we have a season, will be universal DH.
Oh.
So no more pitchers hitting.
Hmm.
I'm not a fan of that, to be honest with you. But this isn't a baseball podcast as much as I want it to be, as much as I also would like it to be a wrestling podcast. It's not.
Yep.
It's the DVC podcast.
Yep. And let me just kind of break down. There's some DVC news that I really want to talk about.
Oh boy.
And one of the top 5 worst experiences of my life as a DVC member was the process that went into renewing my annual passes.
Recently, or
Like 2 Saturdays ago.
so very recently. Okay.
So now, and we'll take the fact of just the sheer sticker shock of how much more it cost me to renew my annual passes. We're talking hundreds of dollars. Because of course I don't get photos, I don't get my free creepy picture of Cinderella photo pass in, the ones where they tell you to hold out your hands, or to blow on something, or, to act surprised.
Hold your hands and blow.
Yeah. Well, that's the last one we did. It was just like, I almost just stopped the dude and was like, no, I'm actually not going to do that.
I'm sure that was Leslie saying, "Hey, no, we're taking this."
Yeah, oh yeah, dude. Once you're in it, and then you get it, and it's like, okay, sure, we'll just use it. It's there.
Yeah.
if you watch this, when we record this show, and we never really give you much notice just because life, but we did show some of my PhotoPass photos in the pre-show. So if you watch the live stream, you miss that. But
Well, and if you don't watch it, we'll post them once I get this edited down, and for those that
we'll
see
post
it-
the Cinderella one at least, yeah. And
Yeah.
so here we are. We're at we were staying at the hotel that the thing is at, and we've announced that the Wyndham Disney Springs is where the thing 2022 will be at in November, the first weekend of November, and literally walking distance, the closest hotel to Disney Springs, even closer than my beloved Saratoga Springs.
beloved.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, I stayed again. We stayed in a 1-bedroom, hands down. As nice as the Riviera rooms, and
You are smoking crack. Apparently, you got one of those free crack pipes.
dude, you have not been since the remodel.
There is no way Saratoga Springs, their rooms are as nice as the Riviera. No way.
Has anyone listening on the live stream been and stayed in the new rooms at Saratoga since they've been remodeled?
I doubt it, but there is no way.
Dude,
Zero.
I'm. If you want to talk point value,
Okay.
if
Now-
you want to talk point value comparatively, they're significantly nicer point for point.
Point for point, you've got me on that.
But I'm just telling you that the fixtures, the appointments, compared to the remodel at Old Key West, which is about the remodel that happens when a Hampton Inn becomes a Ramada. In Old Key West, folks, the Old Key West Resort is the Ramada of Disney of the Disney Vacation Club.
Well, it's the OG.
Well, yeah, I mean, the last room I stayed in, which was February of last year, had supposedly just been remodeled, and my laptop TV monitor is bigger than the TV that was in the room.
Oh wow,
Um,
that's saying something.
yeah, and I have the MacBook 16-inch laptop. So, I mean, it was. I'm exaggerating just a little bit, but it's literally like my wife's computer monitor on her desk is bigger than the TV we had in that room. But dude, the Saratoga rooms stepped up. But back to what I was saying, we were at the Wyndham Disney Springs. That you literally walk across the bridge, you go through security, and you're at Earl of Sandwich. It will take you longer to order your sandwich at Earl of Sandwich than it will for you to walk there. It's great. So we walked over there, had the Earl, and said, "Hey, we're here. We should renew our passes."
Real quick, while you're saying that, yeah, Chris Maples, DVC members are able to renew and purchase annual passes right now. Just renew. No one can buy annual passes unless you're buying the Incredipass, right?
Yeah, unless you're buying the Florida resident bottom tier pass.
Right. So yes, if you're DVC and you
now, if you make a purchase and are a new DVC member, I would imagine you could get some magic.
Yes. Can't promise that, but I bet you could do that.
If you're having trouble getting magic, say, "Hey, I'm going to spend $15,000 to $30,000, $40,000. But I'm not going to do that until you sell me an annual pass. Let me know when to give you my credit card." I would imagine you'll get that blue card pretty quick like.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
All right, so tell us your story.
So we go over there to the fine folks at you go to the customer service area, and they're like, "Oh, no, you got to go to the ticket office," which I knew, but I just wanted to make sure because I never can remember where that stupid office is. And you go in there, and there's like 4 little desks, and you get in there, and they're like, Bobby comes out to help me. And he's like, "Can I see your DVC card?" And I'm like, "Well, sir, don't you know that it's on the app?" He's like, "No, I don't know."
What?
So I go to the app, and I show him, I pull. And if you're a DVC member, you got instructions how to do this. I pull up my Walt Disney World app. I go to the page where it tells you. And by the way, this same experience is similar to what I had every time I had to use to get my discount, unless I was doing mobile checkout. Like
Wait.
Saratoga Springs, when I checked out in the gift shop, literally just quizzed me because they didn't know what else to do. They quizzed me where my home resort it was when I bought my contract, and some random DVC trivia. And that way
What?
she knew that I wasn't. Yes. So the card that is in your app is not the same as your membership card.
Wait,
So
in the actual MDE app?
The MDE app, which
You'll
they're telling you you're supposed to use, right?
You'll have to show me how to get to that, by the way.
Well, let's just do it. You go to the app and you go to Disney wants me to log in. They're probably going to send me a stupid code that I've got to.
You're not just automatically logged in?
No, because I got a new disclaimer about the new PhotoPass lenses that probably got updated in some discount today. I've got to read the whole statement. For some reason, I hate.
I wish
app.
that DVC had an app.
Well, there's a lot of things I wish, Dave.
That is very true.
So if you go to my profile,
okay,
membership and passes,
and it
tells you all the membership passes,
right?
But what's real interesting is it doesn't tell you. Well, it does now. I was able to show my membership number on there.
There's a club ID.
Yeah, and then you can go if you go here. If you go to the sandwiches on the bottom, the little hamburger.
Yeah.
And you go to tickets and passes. Right? No. It's not tickets and passes. It's somewhere new. Disney Mobile Magic. And then you get here's mine, Dave. You can see mine's Figment because I'm an annual pass and I like the Figment one.
Right. Okay.
I didn't have to wait in line for 9 hours to get my Figment digital pass.
Yeah, I've got Figment myself.
And I actually have that. If you go over on your iPhone, you can export that and save it in your wallet.
Yep.
So then you can use the wallet as your key or whatever. And if you go to your wallet, you press over there and it's got a QR code that you can scan or whatever, right?
But where's the DVC one?
It just says affiliation DVCY and then annual.
Where did you?
Go to your wallet, pull up your Disney World. This is fascinating podcast.
Well, but no,
it's riveting podcasting.
People need to know.
Pull up the app and then the 3 dots up in the right-hand corner. You should see.
DVCY and annual. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. So that now is my DVC card.
Ish. So that's not what they recognize. That's not what they recognize to go and renew your annual passes. They don't recognize that. Now that is a DVC. That is a Disney app that DVC sent me an email and said, that's what you should do to get your DVC card on your phone. Not what they wanted. They wanted my card.
They wanted the blue card.
Do you have your old blue card? I'm like, no, Bobby. Well, just using his name. My DVC card expired like everyone else's on the 31st of December. Today is the 20 whatever of
January.
Interestingly enough, I'm going to actually have to call them because I just looked and it has me. My pass expired on the 30th of January, right? And now it says it expires on the 26th of January.
Well, that's weird.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so tell me.
Yeah, it's so we're there and he's like, you know what you should do, Terry? You should call DVC and renew your pass through them. And I'm like, I'm standing in the Disney ticketing office at Disney Springs, and you guys are. That's what you want me to do? I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
Why in the world would you want to do that?
You want me to spend time on hold the rest of the night? Is that what you'd like me to do?
Yeah, they don't want to do it themselves.
Yeah, this guy. Yeah, it might have just literally been like a lazy cast member. I don't know, but so I was like, no. And he was like, well, then you can log into your you can log into your DVC member portal, which if you've ever tried to do that on your phone is not the best experience.
Their website is not made for mobile.
No. Well, their app isn't made for mobile either.
Very true.
And by the way, the entire time I was there, I could not modify a dining reservation
Why?
because there was a glitch. So
Did Stitch eat your page?
remind me to come back to that part of the story either, because we went to Flying Fish, and I got to talk to some Disney IT folks, and anybody that's been listening to the show for a long time.
You love Disney IT.
Yeah, this will be fun. So, but I want to finish this one part of the story. So we're there because this is all the same glorious day. So, we had finished it was actually that day we didn't go to Earl of Sandwich. We went to Boathouse.
Ooh, I love Boathouse.
Well, except for we sat outside, and apparently Boathouse, if they don't pick up the stuff on the table next to you, the crows come in and attack.
Oh, no.
So it was like being in the middle of a Hitchcock movie when you're sitting there trying to eat your lobster roll, and there's like literally 40 birds. Literally, we're outside on high top tables, and Leslie does not like birds. Like, not a phobia, but like more like, yeah, like it was not good. And that the ticket thing's happening right after this. Like, our nerves were shot. Luckily, we were enjoying our Gideon's cold brew peanut butter iced coffees, which was fantastic, that we only had to wait like 25-30 minutes for.
Impressive.
Yeah, which really wasn't that bad. And we didn't, no virtual queue. We just hopped in a line. And the guy I knew, he's like, do you need me to skip the line for you? Are you in a hurry? I was like, dude, I'll wait in the line. Because I was there with some cast members last time. And he's like, dude, I can get you in right now. I'm like, no, man, I'll wait in line. I got nothing to do. I don't want to. Actually don't want to go to a theme park today until after dinner, because I just want to Ratatouille and watch Harmonious. So we're doing this experience. So he tells me to go log on. I finally got on. Of course, they're like, you have to send it. So they have to email you the code to get in the site, because I'm using a browser that's brand new. I waited for the email. I got in there, and he wanted me to take a screenshot of the blue card. So if you go on your app, there's a blue card that'll expire, like a temporary blue card. If you're going to Walt Disney World in the near future, I highly recommend you go on the app, or you go on the website, or you go and you get the temporary card for now and take a screenshot of that and use that anywhere you want to use your DVC discount. Because right now, and it's the same thing with annual pass discounts at restaurants, they don't know what to do. Because one of the things they kind of took away during the pandemic was all of their handheld charging devices.
I never even realized that. You're right.
Because the meal plan they wanted you to pay for at the table.
That's
because
true.
I'd imagine, how long has this been? It's been 2 years. Well, what doesn't work after 2 years? Your iPhone, right? So the technology has expired. So that's probably part of the delay in getting the dining plan, is they literally are going to have to roll out new technology to every server at Disney World.
If only I knew somebody that worked in apps and services for IT. Huh.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, dude, we literally blew 90 plus minutes for this experience, just renewing 2 annual passes. I literally walked up with I literally handed in my photo ID, my Disney Visa card. Sorry, Dave Ramsey, and my old annual pass. So literally, this should have been like a 10-minute transaction.
Right.
We finally got it done. And honestly, by the time I was done, I was just like, nah, you know what? We're not going to renew our annual passes. We're going to go get Universal passes. Thanks.
Oh, don't do that.
Oh, dude, the experience was so bad that it was just
don't be that guy, Terry.
No, but this should be a super simple. Don't tell me to not be that guy. Somebody at Disney needs to get it together to not be that guy, because I'm not the guy that's the problem. I'm the guy that wants to give Disney $1,800 or $1,700 or whatever it was for us to renew our annual passes. which, by the way, were about $300 the first time we bought them a piece.
Yeah.
So I mean, they've almost tripled in cost.
Well, inflation's what, 9% now? So I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
I get it.
sure.
I get it. It's not just Disney being greedy. It's inflation.
No, I'm all for inflation, but if you want to, Len Testa has a fun article written about the fact that the best investments you can ever make in your life is buy annual passes and don't activate them and then give them to other people. It's better than the stock market.
I will say, the way we
Because
did
dude,
it
an annual pass in now Leslie and I have been married for not quite 25 years, a little more than 20. If we had bought an annual pass on our honeymoon in 1998, which is when we got married, that annual pass would be less. And you want to talk about inflation, Dave? Here you go. That annual pass would be less than a 1-day, 1-park ticket.
Wow.
So in the course of my marriage, the cost of going to Disney World has gone from. So in reality, we're talking about a 365%.
Yeah.
So inflation's been gnarly, but if that was the case, gas would be
Gnarly.
Yeah.
I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah. I think when we got married, gas was in the 130s a gallon. So it's gone up a little bit, but not that much.
Yeah.
So now granted, the last few months it's doing spectacularly well if you own oil. But yeah, dude, that buying experience was just, he's like, would you like then the guy goes, now I want you to know you're going to get a survey about this experience.
Oh Lord.
And I'm like, dude, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to fill out that survey, because if I fill out that survey, you won't have a job. Just because it wasn't that guy's fault.
Right.
Now granted, his lack of giving a poo-poo made the experience that much worse. By the time that was done, we walked back across the bridge, went to the Wyndham. I shot a bunch of video. We actually announced that was the location to our thing, alumni. That way they could start buying hotel rooms before the general public got a chance to. And then we went to dinner at Flying Fish.
Ooh, I need to hear about that.
We were one of the first tables that were in there that night. The server that we had, that was her first experience. And I still say hands down, Flying Fish is one of the best restaurants on Disney property. It's still the best steak on property. The char grilled New York strip there with the béarnaise sauce is hands down one of the
so
best.
You don't even get fish at Flying Fish?
No, Leslie normally gets the seafood pasta, which is called the Pearl.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's got like seafood and like little like pearl pasta, like giant couscous, pearl size. That's what she gets, but the steak there is just unfreaking believable.
Wow,
the first time we went, because I was just like, oh man, I have that a steak this trip, and of course this was the trip where like basically that's all we ate, which worked out because we were going to Jamaica the next week.
Yeah, man.
And the one thing that Jamaica doesn't do real well is like steaks, because all the resorts have steakhouses, and you go, and even John Rogers went to Sandals, which is a nice resort. And he was like, dude, the steak was not fantastic. It's just, you go to Texas and you expect that's going to be a good piece of meat. Now what you will have in Jamaica that's fantastic is goat.
No, thank you.
Curry goat, dude. Curry goat will change your life.
Nope.
Yeah, dude, fantastic. The other thing Jamaicans are popular for is the oxtail, which is the tail of the cow.
Or jerk chicken.
No, dude, I probably ate my weight in jerk chicken on this trip.
So tell us about your Flying Fish and your restaurant experience there.
Dude, Flying Fish was absolutely fantastic. The back better than ever.
No rust.
No rust. The poor girl had been working at Tony's Town Square for the last 2 years.
Oh gosh.
Which to me just sounds like
purgatory.
Oh, dude, not even like the stop after purgatory. It's like Yeah, if Chef Boyardee had a restaurant, it would be Tony's Town Square.
Yeah.
And that dude, I mean, Lady and the Tramp's one of my favorite classic Disney movies. I love that movie. I love every character in that movie. The movie's fantastic. Scotty, the cats that I guess they're not Siamese anymore, because the cats are racist now.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, the cats have been canceled. They weren't in the new live action. There was cats that kind of like.
oh, you're right.
They were in it, but they were like, yeah, guys, we're not going to give you a song anymore.
So what about this IT guy that you had?
So we're there hanging out, and we're waiting for our table, and I'm like, oh, the guys are out there like, good evening, sir. Welcome back to Flying Fish. And I'm like, oh, awesome. What do you guys do? Because I always talk to people who are
Right.
cast members, and I want to know kind of what they do. It's like, oh, we're with IT. And I'm like, boy, can you explain why this keeps happening on my phone? I pulled up the app trying to modify a reservation. And he was like, oh, yeah, the blue thing comes up. Yep. And then he's like, you should tell us every time something goes wrong with the app. There's a help feature in the app. And every time you have a bad experience on the app, you should tell us. And I'm like,
Really?
sir, I was like, sir, if I did that, I would never get to ride one attraction at Walt Disney World because I've never been here and had the app work as it advertised. He's like, really? I was like, yes. Yeah, they have a thing that says, yeah, if you go to help, it says, send us your feedback. Now, granted, I just tried to use that and it errored out. Send them their
Are you
feedback
serious?
straight up.
So so they knew that there was an issue with it.
Well, they were there to make sure that the reservation system, because they weren't up at 100% capacity yet.
Right.
When the restaurant comes up, they kind of like turn the faucet on in real time.
Right.
So they were literally there opening up reservations in real time just to make sure they weren't like, because those guys hadn't been in that kitchen for a long time.
Right. Yeah.
So they did a couple of like test nights, but they go from like, it's one thing to cook a few steaks to cooking like 89 in a row.
Right.
Into cooking, the pasta 42 times and the
fish.
The fish. Yeah. And it's not just the seafood. I honestly think the steaks are better there than they are at Yachtsman, which is a great steakhouse. I don't hate Yachtsman. But they use a char grilling method and cook over open wood flames.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Which takes it up. Your steak just it's got like a charred finish on it. I don't know how they do it, what they do to it. But their charred New York strip is fantastic.
Oh, cool.
But
so talk to me a little bit about your experience in the parks. It was a little bit busier than
dude, I'll tell you this much. The parks are the busiest that I have seen them. There was more people there the weekend we were there than on any holiday that I've ever been in the parks on.
Really?
I mean, I've been in the parks on Thanksgiving Day, which is a decently crowded day in the parks. There was more people in the parks than then. The reservation system is just a suggestion at this point.
Well, and were you there? You're not a start early guy type of guy, are you?
No, but we got the most parks pretty relative. We kind of did both. We did some I did some of the new extra magic hours afterwards. I didn't even talk about this on WDW Today. We'll talk about a couple things I didn't talk about on WDW Today in our latest episode. But the last night we were there, we went to Epcot and kind of realized, tonight I was like, why aren't these rides closing? Because it's hard. Disney doesn't make information very accessible to you.
Not always.
Like I was staying on site and didn't know that it was an extra magic hour night or whatever they call it now.
Right.
And they're only doing that at Magic Kingdom and Epcot, which is odd because I think Hollywood Studios actually need the time in that park more than you do in Epcot. Because Epcot is open till 10 during most of the festivals running right now anyways, most nights. Especially like Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday anyways.
Right.
So the park was already open till I think the park did close at 9 that night. No, it closed at 10 because it was going to be midnight, and Leslie was like, "We are not staying till then."
Oh, y'all
Um,
stayed till midnight, I'm sure.
we stayed till close because we had a late pass to get on Soarin'. And
Which
so we
is
went,
one of the best rides at Epcot.
which is kind of sad that that's a sentence.
Oh,
Um,
you know I love Soarin' now.
Dude, I love Soarin' too. I'm real sad I'm not going to miss Soarin' over California when I'm there next week. Because Soarin' over California is legit. It's a way better and more believable story. Um, and dude, there's elephants and stuff. Like I love that scene. In fact, I'm burning that candle in my office right now.
I'm burning a better candle in my office right now.
What are you burning?
Well, Riviera.
Yeah, nice.
Ooh, that's hot.
Yeah, that's typically what happens when they're on fire there, Dave. So yeah, we did that, dude, and I mean, I had a Soarin' vehicle to myself. Leslie and I had the whole middle. We were front row. We got
You got B1.
yeah, we didn't get straight. We got straight Eiffel Tower. We were so good. And dude, that whole middle, it was literally the two of us on the whole thing. All
Wow.
3 rows. We walked over and got on Nemo, and nobody else was finding Nemo with us. We got off on Nemo, went and looked at the manatees from below because the up top is closed after dark normally, and went upstairs and looked at the tanks, and the dolphins were out.
Oh,
And there was
cool.
one other person in the whole Seas Pavilion with us. So that was really nice to be able to kind of just hang out in the aquarium section and not have anybody in there with you.
You should have just walked over to Test Track then.
We almost did, dude. And Leslie was just like, let's go ride Spaceship Earth and get out of here. So we did that.
Okay.
Which arguably I think is still one of the best attractions in that park.
It is, but it's dated now.
Sure.
I'm ready for it to. I look. What I'm about to say is probably going to ruffle some feathers. I know Sherry's going to hate me for it because Spaceship Earth is her favorite ride. But to me, it's time to update it. It's time to. I don't say gut it, but it's time to update it. I mean, when you stop at Palo Alto and them making that computers in their garage, it's time to update it.
That is the last. What do you go into Stars right after that?
Yeah. It's you stop at the 70s. 70s and 80s.
Yeah, the 80s. 80s is when you would stop. Because you go from Afro Woman to Palo Alto.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how they'd fit another scene in there.
You'd
They just added one more scene.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to do like a .com boom or something like that.
Or rather than going into the Stars, you go into the internet.
That's a good. Yeah. I mean, you almost do.
Yeah, like if you literally like afterwards, like then now we enter the digital future, and then like rather than seeing all they would honestly have to do to change that ride would just change the ride down.
Make it the Matrix.
You go into the metaverse essentially, or whatever you're going to call it. You go into Web 3.0. Everybody gets an NFT on I
mean, why not? Or welcome to the podcast age.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a little tiny short animatronic of Lou Mangello.
Or how about we get the WDW Today guys at the desk?
Yes. Yeah.
we get a Logan, a Terry, a
we
Will.
need the world needs an animatronic Grease, like it needs a
oh god.
like it needs another pandemic.
Oh god, that would be the worst. The worst.
It's just him mentioning himself in the third person.
Yeah.
On an endless loop.
And he's got to talk like this.
Yeah. Good gracious.
Anyway.
So yeah, that was the main thing we went to do at Epcot that whole weekend was Festival of the Arts. And it was so cold when we were there, dude.
Was it Florida cold or was it Nashville cold?
It was approaching lower 30s. Which there's a difference between being inside when it's the 30s and getting on Big Thunder Mountain when it's 36 degrees.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do a roller coaster.
Yeah. And so you just kind of have to be ready to change. You kind of change your experience.
Yeah, it'd all be indoor stuff for sure.
Oh, dude. Yeah. We didn't even. Saturday was the day that it was like, and it was a little drizzly, and we were just like, man, I'm good.
Nope.
I don't need influenza. So we went and got a COVID test that day so we could go to Jamaica.
So yeah, that was the next thing. We need to talk about your international travel. How did that go?
Let's talk about a couple of the park things, and then we can.
Okay.
We did California Grill and did their new menu there, which is a prefix menu, which I don't love. The fact that you have to do the appetizer, entree, dessert, because Leslie and I most of the time just go and order sushi, split, maybe a salad, and get a dessert if we get a dessert. So
right.
We still spend well over $100 at dinner.
Did you ask them about Top of the World?
No, they wouldn't know.
Okay.
There's absolutely no reason the Top of the World is not open. There's not a legitimate reason that the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Vacation Club could give me. You can't tell me it's the pandemic. You can't tell me it's staffing. You can't tell me it's because left-handed people like pizza. There's no legitimate reason. You would have to make up something that's just, there's no reason. It literally takes, what's the reason?
Bob Chapek.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And there's your reason.
Yeah. But he's I know we all want to love or hate Bob Chapek, but Disney's profits are $1 billion in the parks over projections.
Did you see your stock today?
I did not.
Ooh, boy. It was good.
Yeah. $1 billion over projections. So you can hate on the man all you want. He ain't going anywhere. Now, granted, depending on what happens at the stockholder meeting, which I don't know if that's actually happened or not. I don't know what the votes are. I don't know if that's till March.
I don't think it's till March, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he could get voted off the board, which would be interesting.
That'd be great.
And dude, I don't. This is going to be an unpopular opinion. Probably even with you. I don't think Bob Chapek needs to be fired. I think what Bob Chapek needs is the same thing Michael Eisner needed, and the same thing that Walt needed. Walt needed somebody. There needs to be a balance. Walt and Roy, Eisner and Wells. That's when the Disney company works. Chapek just needs someone who understands creativity and understands guest experience. And I will say that I know profits are up and I know crowds are up and I know everyone's, like 50% of the people were doing 50 to 80% of the people are using Genie Plus. I've not heard, but I've heard probably, if I was going to guess, maybe 15% of the people that I know that have tried Genie Plus that said it was a good experience.
So I'll say this to your creativity guy and guest relations. Josh is the guest relations guy. He's not the creativity guy.
No, he's not. No,
he's great with guest relations.
Well,
but he doesn't know the.
He's great with shaking people's hands and taking photos. And apparently Chapek was there when I was there.
You'll never see Bob.
No, he was out. He was out. There were pictures of people with him. There's been some interesting people. The sandwich king Jeff Murrow was there last week. Michael Jordan was there yesterday.
Really?
The greatest of all time. Since we're talking about Curry Goat,
yeah,
he is the greatest goat of all time.
Chapek and DeMauro. See, Jeffrey, I'm half with you, but no, I think you need a 3-headed monster if you're going to do that.
Dude, we already have that. We have that. We literally have. DeMauro is over parks and resorts. He's over all the things that you complain about. All of those things, Josh DeMauro is over. You want to talk about your Disney online shopping experience? You know who's responsible for that?
It's Josh.
You want to talk about your Genie Plus? You know who's over that?
Josh.
You want to talk? Yeah. And so
we need a 3-headed monster if it's going to be that.
Well, the problem is it's somebody to speak into. And I'll stand by my cast member. Morale is low.
Very low.
Yeah, I mean, I know who I think it should be. It'll never happen because of our cancel culture, because he was too much of a hugger. But the only person that's alive that I know of is John Lasseter that could stand up to Chapek, because he literally did when they made Cars Land. They wanted Cars Land to be bigger. They wanted to give him all of Bugs Life Land and half of. They wanted to give him Bugs Life Land, which is where Marvel Universe is, and where all of the area behind Tower of Terror that's going to be another attraction, which is going to be future Marvel Avengers campus. He wanted to give him all of that, and Lasseter said, no, I don't want it. I'm not turning that into Cars Land. We're not building another. You haven't given me the budget. I'm not going to build a third crappy attraction just because you want one, or a fourth crappy attraction. Cars Land already has two D ticket attractions. It has the Mater's Jamboree and whatever the other thing became after it was the tires. I forget what it is now. I don't know. I guess it's some car. They're cars that spin around or something. What are they?
Yeah, it's the dancing Luigi thing.
Yeah, I don't know what it. I forgot what that is. It was the tires in the beginning, but those took forever to load.
Yeah,
and if you didn't know how to move your weight around,
it's basically the alien swirling saucers in Cars.
No, that's the tractor ride, is alien swirling saucers. That's Mater's Jamboree. I forgot what that is.
Okay,
I'll be able to tell you when I'll be in that park on Wednesday of next week.
So Jeffrey has a great question. So what does it mean ultimately if Chapek is voted off the board in regards to the parks and such? I mean, he'd still be CEO, but what extra power does being on the board give him?
Well, it's kind of like, it's essentially a vote of no confidence from Disney shareholders. It's Disney shareholders that's saying he shouldn't even have a seat at this table anymore. It would be unprecedented. It would create. It would definitely send a message. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. I don't know that. I think Bob is fine when it comes to the numbers and the spreadsheets. It's somebody needs to come in and say, this can't be this way. And Marty, and the other problem is there's no one in the other layer down is when there was Roy, there was somebody in Imagineering. Now there's no one in Imagineering. The person from Imagineering didn't even come from within. So the person over the creative arm of the company isn't even a creative. Pixar has Pete Docter. Animation. I mean, it's a problem across the company that there aren't the tier down. All of those people aren't. Sure, Encanto, we don't talk about Bruno, is the biggest song of all time, which I kind of don't get. It's not a bad song.
Awesome song. It's Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Well, I didn't say it's a bad song, but it's also just that movie was just. There was a lot about that movie I liked, and then there was a lot about that movie, the message behind that movie, and the power behind mental health and silencing people, and the hidden messages in that movie. And that was kind of the same thing with Luca. The stories just didn't have the. I mean, everything is almost good enough. Everything is. And there was, one of the interesting things that came out over this last week, Dave, was there was a poll by, and this is not bloggers or influencers. This was just readers of USA Today. Now, I don't know who reads USA Today. I sure don't.
I don't do it.
But they put Magic Kingdom as the 10th top theme park in America, and number 9 and put SeaWorld above the Magic Kingdom. Now, granted, Disneyland wasn't even on the list. Knott's Berry Farm was before it. And I know in a lot of ways this list is ludicrous. But what it does prove is the perception of guests while they are coming, right? And this is what's really interesting, Dave. They're coming to spend their money because they've missed Disney.
Right.
The pent-up demand is there. Because there are people who have done this and done it on a cycle, and almost everyone who comes on a regular basis has missed a trip or two. What we have now is this demand that is great, and obviously that's why profits are through the roofs. But the experience is, you and I've had this magical talk about. There's definitely something off. I don't know if that's the magic missing. Even at we went to Primetime Cafe, which Dave is one of my favorite Disney experiences. Right. And still it's kind of like, oh yeah, this is Primetime Cafe-ish.
Have we been there? Yeah, we've been during the pandemic.
And it's not there's a great Dr. Seuss quote.
Don't get us canceled now, Terry.
Oh gosh.
I just,
dude, it's hold on, I'm looking up the quote because I don't want to misquote it.
Okay.
Oh no, great. I clicked on a link that's taking me to Etsy. I don't want to do that. Come on. Unless someone like you cares an awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. Unless someone like you cares an awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. And the experience, dude, the food was the same. Now, granted, there was a couple little things that were off the menu, was a little abbreviated because of whatever. They took a couple of they changed the vegetables out. It was too cold to have a milkshake because that was the reason I made the reservation, because I wanted the peanut butter and jelly milkshake.
Right.
But it was, at the time we were eating, it was 38 degrees outside.
Nope.
So I wasn't about to walk outside in my fleece jacket. Now I got some great shots of the park empty, which, pro tip, if you want to see the parks like they're enjoyable, then you want to book a reservation close to closing and walk out after closing. It's an amazing experience. We walked down and saw 5 people from the time we left the restaurant to the front gate.
Oh, wow.
But you used to go in that restaurant, dude, and there was a guy named Cousin Tommy, and since then I found out that Cousin Tommy has passed away.
Oh,
dude, we've been going to this restaurant since our honeymoon. And it's been we don't miss that restaurant.
Right.
Which a lot of people have that feeling about Sci-Fi, but the food, I think, at Sci-Fi is just awful.
It's gone downhill.
Yeah. Well, it was terrible. And then they made a good swing at, oh, this isn't so bad. Because I went and that wasn't so bad. And then I went again. I was like, oh, nope. That was the worst hamburger I ever had. And if you can't cook a hamburger properly,
you got issues.
And it's the same people. It's the same chefs. It's the expectation.
Right.
And I think that's the kind of there's very much there's a sense of apathy in well, it's good enough. The profits are up. Who cares? This is good enough. This is fine. Dude, it cost me a ton of money to invest in my annual passes. Those weren't cheap. Now, granted, I still think they're a good deal for what they are.
As much as you go, it's worth it. I actually did a cost analysis.
The cost analysis is after 2 multi-day tickets. If you buy 2 multi-day park hopper tickets, it's 100% worth it.
Yep. So we're going in a couple of days, or in a couple of weeks. We're going down for 3 days in March. I've got a cool trip planned, and we'll talk about that later after the trip. I don't want to give anything away. And then we're going for a couple of days in October. And for my family of 4, it was like $200 more to just renew our annual passes.
Yeah, and you're going to go more than
we'll go more than
March and October. You're going to find another reason to go.
Yes, I know. My wife knows too.
Yeah. So, although, we were talking about our trips for the rest of the year, in the summertime is still, it's hard to justify the stand outside in 95 degree heat experience if you don't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
But dude, there's definitely a few things. And it was very noticeable to me at prime time that if the guy wouldn't have known that I was like, oh, you guys come here all the time, so you're expecting this to be. There were definitely people who barely got to put your elbows off the table.
Did he know you? Did the waiter know you?
No, but he knew by the way that I'm ordering. He's like, how many times have you been here? I was like, well,
Enough.
probably 70. Because I was asking things about the menu. He's like, wow, you know the menu. You've been coming here a while. I was like, yeah. So
Yeah. So do we want to talk about my exciting news real quick?
do you
But-
have exciting news?
Well, what I'm planning on doing, the whole running gag is, as big a Disney fan as I am, I've never been to the Disney park.
yeah.
Everyone keeps saying that they don't know how I've never been to Disneyland. Well, in
Yeah.
July, that will change.
There you go.
We're doing.
I'm definitely glad I'm going next week because now I just one upped you.
Yeah. Well, you always figure out a way to do that.
Well, hey, dude,
but-
you were there for the 50th and I wasn't. So,
That is well, you chose not to.
dude, you honestly probably could have. I had offers to go and just stay with people. I mean, I had an annual pass, so it wouldn't have,
It was worth it. It was totally worth it for me and my family to be there for that. But
yeah, and we did the 45th, and I'm glad we did, and I'm glad I checked that box, and I don't need to do it again.
Yeah.
Um,
I get it. But so we are going for a week cruise up to Alaska with my travel agency, Gold Gal Getaways, Dave at
Which,
goldgalgetaways.com.
which cruise line are you guys going on?
Royal.
No, bro.
We're doing the Ovation of the Seas out of Seattle. So we are flying from Nashville to Seattle. And then once we get off the big boat, we are flying into the Santa Ana airport
Nice.
and then making our way to Disneyland, where we have
the John Wayne Airport.
yes, the John Wayne Airport, making our way to Disneyland, where I have 2-day park hoppers, maybe 3. We haven't decided yet, 2 or 3, probably 3. But I have heard that if you do it right, you can do both of those parks in 2 days. But as much as I've never seen it, as much as I wanted to just stop and smell the roses,
Remember, just for perspective, equal number of attractions between Orlando. Now it varies based on what's open or closed.
right?
It varies because we're gonna get Galaxies, and then they're gonna get the Mickey's Runaway Railway. Within 2 or 3 normally.
Yeah.
So it's the same number of attractions across 2 parks as we have across 4 parks.
That is true. That is true.
It's basically if you take Epcot, Animal Kingdom, and Hollywood Studios and put those same number of attractions in California Adventure, and then a few more in Magic Kingdom.
So I am planning on doing Genie Plus out there because I believe that's probably where Genie Plus would definitely come.
I'll let
in
you know.
handy.
I'm going to do it for
Okay.
review purposes. I'll at least do Lightning Lane because I'm going to do the Spider-Man ride.
Yeah. The thought in mine and Amanda's mind is we're not going to do rides that are similar. Although I know I have to do Space Mountain.
Well,
Ship-
I'd make my priority, and we'll do this, and we'll do a full on Disneyland episode. Let's just save it because
Okay.
You want to do. There's a few that are better in different places, and there's a few things that you want to do there that you can't do. I'd prioritize that. Like
Right.
Dumbo, it's the original Dumbo, but
But it's the
Dumbo,
same.
Magic Kingdom, it's still Dumbo.
Right. Carousel, it's the carousel.
It's right. Mr. Toads, we don't got Mr. Toads.
Oh, I'm riding Mr. Toads.
So
I'll
you-
ride that 3 or 4 times.
You get yourself on down to hell and go with Mr. Toads. Go to hell, Dave Adams, with Mr. Toad.
Hey, I'm rewatching Supernatural right now, so I
Yeah. So yeah, it's Disneyland is a whole different experience. I'm emotional knowing I'm going to get to go again.
I will be, and you're probably going to want to get Amanda to film me as I first walk under that tunnel, and walk. I know this is so hokey, but walk the streets that Walt actually walked.
Dude, as soon as I make eye contact with the light on in Walt's apartment above the fire station, I shed it. There's not a time I've done it. For the first time I come on every trip, I shed a tear.
Yeah, I mean,
At least
and
one.
I think
I get
that's okay.
emotional. I get emotional thinking about it. I go and sit on the park bench that you've seen where Walt's sitting in the when you walk through the castle, and you know that's the image where Walt walked through the castle. There's that iconic picture, the place where he leaned on the trash can. You go there, man. Absolutely. You go
Yep.
to the island and know. The amazing thing about about the Tom Sawyer's Island there is it literally looks and smells and has the same type of grass that it's in his boyhood home in Marceline, Missouri.
Yeah.
And their train is working. I will get emotional riding the train.
Hey, look, I sent you that article.
Yeah,
the
the train. The train's coming back. We're planning our VIP day for the thing at Magic Kingdom, and I will cancel it if the train's not working. I will not take people. I will. I won't take people on a tour of the Magic Kingdom to experience, because the entire park is Walt's backyard. Walt literally built the train. I'm actually going to that on Sunday when I'm in LA. We're going to the Tam O'Shatner, which is the restaurant where the nine old men and Walt and the Imagineers literally planned all those movies. They went there for lunch. Walt drank scotch by the truckloads.
He drank bourbon too.
He drank a lot of scotch. There was a bourbon he liked. It's in the
Yellowstone.
It's in that. We should get a bottle.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
So actually, there's a couple of books. I got this book called Walt's Disneyland. I'm going to take this with me for sure.
Okay.
I got this recently. Just released on pre-sale on Amazon. I'm going to post this. The Imagineering Story is becoming a book by Leslie Iwerks.
Yeah.
Dick Nunis, who was in the Imagineering Story, who was the operations man. He was Roy Disney 2.0. He was the follow-up to the brains of Dick Nunis. Dick Nunis has a book coming out. I just pre-ordered those. And I finally got this book that I have been waiting on since the 50th. The Delicious Disney book. I'm holding it up in the live stream if you're watching the live stream. If you're not. I've had this on my Amazon cart since August of last year, and it still hasn't come. So it was in the world of Disney. And dude, it's one. I'm a Disney cookbook man. We cook Disney food pretty regularly. And it's got post, past, current kind of, and it's got a lot of the past things. It's got the original Hoop-Dee-Doo. Lots of really just cool graphics in here. It's got the original like Hoop-Dee-Doo menu in the book. I'm holding it up for our live stream, folks. If you're not watching the live stream, why not?
You're missing a lot.
You're missing a lot. It's got a bunch of the early, a bunch of the stuff that they stopped carrying. Like the Kungaloosh from Adventures Club is the recipe for that in there. The dishes from the Empress Lily, which is now Paddlefish. The bean and barley soup from King Stephen's Dining Hall, which is now Cinderella's Royal Table. The golf club that was originally at where the Shades of Green Resort was called the Lake Buena Vista Club. There's a spinach salad from there.
Oh, cool.
One of the original drinks, which is called Monorail Yellow, which was originally a Top of the World, which is now the original Top of the World was California Grill, obviously. The drink from there. Just different old school original, like stuff. Things that just don't exist anymore. And then obviously, kind of all the current favorites, the mac and cheese bites from Iron Boy George. Literally almost every restaurant at the parks has there's the stuff for Victoria and Albert's. There's recipes from almost every Disney restaurant. The recipe to make Ronto wraps is in here. Just all kinds of stuff in the book. I highly recommend it. It's called
All I Want is the Cheeseburger Egg Rolls.
Yeah, the Delicious Disney Walt Disney World recipes and stories for the most magical place on earth. The Cheeseburger Egg Rolls. you're gonna laugh. You're gonna hate me for saying this, but I'm gonna say it anyways. There's an episode. You can Google it, where the trackers make them at home and got.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
They got pretty close. But yeah, man, that's kind of the deal. International travel. So let's talk about this. So in order to travel internationally,
quickly,
I guess we have been live a little over an hour.
Yeah.
So after our Walt Disney trip, the only reason we really went to Florida is just because it was cheaper to fly to Jamaica to go. It was cheaper to. Our flights from Nashville would have had us get off in Orlando anyways. We would have gone to Orlando anyways. So it was cheaper for us to add 5 days stop in Orlando than it would have been to get on a plane and keep going to Jamaica. And I knew COVID testing was going to be really easy in Orlando because Orlando has so much international travel.
Right.
Advent Health, which if you went early in the pandemic, those are the people that took your temperatures at the park. That was all Advent Health employees. If you go to the airport now at MCO in one of the old stores, I think it's like the old, I don't know if it's a Ron John stop. It's on the A side, but it's the other side from the Southwest gates. I can't think of what it's like, like 139 through 150 or something. The higher number of gates. Advent Health has a quick rapid test. Both the antigen and the PCR take about 30 minutes. The antigen is cheaper, and you literally get your results. They hand them to you right there. I went and ordered Dunkin' Donuts coffee, and by the time I got my coffee, we were good to go. And then we went and checked into Saratoga Springs into our beautiful, as nice as Riviera room. So we got our test, and it was, we were all clear. And we flew to Jamaica on Tuesday morning. Got there. We used a service called Club Mobay, which if you're ever going to Jamaica, be sure and talk to your travel agent about booking Club Mobay. Literally, when you get off the plane, it's like you're treated like a VIP. I think it's about it ends up being about $50 total per passenger round trip. It's about, that might be $60, but it's in there. It's worth every penny because you get access to a welcome lounge and a almost like VIP lounge, like if you're a member of the Crown Club or the United Club or whatever, whatever airline you normally fly, you have that experience in Jamaica where they have kind of all you can eat food in there. The best pina colada I've ever had in my life is still there. We had one on the way out.
Oh, wow.
But they meet you at customs. You're meeted with a host, and that host literally walks you through the entire getting your luggage. They literally walk you straight through customs. They hand you, they tell you what they need from you. They expedite the whole process. You skip all the lines, and then they take you to another arrivals club while you're waiting on your shuttle transfer person to meet you. So you kind of get 15 minutes to kind of sit there. If you want to change clothes, they have a place for you to change clothes on both ends of the trip. So that way you want a vacation every minute you're in Jamaica, you can. And was a great travel. Was all our flights all had 5 or 6 empty seats on them. They were all full. But you've got to still wear a mask when you travel. All the airlines, including Southwest, has a service that you can buy. It's all on their web. Southwest is currently using City Health, where you test online coming back to get your test to come back into the States. That was super easy. Our resort offered it for free. But then you've got to go make an appointment and you interrupt your vacation.
Right.
We literally ordered our room service was included at our resort. So we literally ordered room service and we're sitting there enjoying our breakfast and coffee, and swabbing our noses, while it's waiting, and then you get the result in 20 minutes. You see the result. It shows up in front of you and you're good. But man, travel is back. A large part of the world is even New Zealand, which was at one of the, they were shooting people with snipers on demand for leaving their house, basically. Not that, but it was their lockdowns their lockdowns made China look like a calm place to live. They shut down the whole country over one case of COVID. So, we had a great experience. We had an amazing, we went to a Playa resort, which runs several resorts in Jamaica and Mexico. We went to the Jewel Grand, had an amazing experience. I'm actually planning a trip in 2023.
You going back in time?
I'm going back in time. and taking some folks with us in 2023.
Taking folks back in time with you too.
Yeah, and dude, I mean Jamaica. I mean, anytime you go to the Caribbean, you remember. I mean, the place is beautiful, but it's also like
third world.
It's most of the places we all vacation are third world. Jamaica's pretty. You know what I love? I love the Jamaican people. I love the service. The weather was fantastic. It rained one morning while we were sleeping, and it rained at the airport once we got there to leave for 20 minutes.
Oh wow!
It was mostly in the mid 70s to mid 80s the whole time we were there. It got a little, it was like 74 at night. Obviously when you're on the water, it's a little breezy, but our resort, was a 4-diamond resort, and it wasn't that expensive. Honestly, it was cheaper than a moderate resort at Disney for your family for 7 nights.
Right.
I mean, Dave just priced a family, and they got it was for our 7 nights. It was about twice as much as what Dave booked 6 nights could book for 6 nights and 2 days in the parks at Universal at Cabana Bay.
Wow.
So, and if you go the timing, it's a pretty affordable vacation. We first discovered this resort when we were on the Disney Wonder, and we did a program called Resort for a Day, which is the website. If you are cruising, I highly recommend you check it out, resortforaday.com. And you basically can, instead of doing an excursion through the cruise line, you book through a Resort for a Day. They come and pick you up and typically a private or semi-private transfer and take you to the resort for a day. So you get to see inclusive resorts in different parts of the country, in different parts of the world where you are. It was a great experience. Now, granted, that may be a little lessened because of COVID, and there were some resorts that did not make it through the pandemic, and some resorts just now getting open. But Jamaica, Mexico, wide open. Both Jamaica and Mexico have no vaccination requirement. So if you haven't or have chosen not to, and that's your business, not mine, you could still do that, whereas you can't cruise right now. So by all means, I would encourage you guys to get out there and travel. You've heard me whine about Disney parks and the things that aren't right. It still beats staying at home. I'm still going back. I'm in another Disney park next week. I'm a glutton for punishment. And right now, Disneyland basically has the same mask requirements that Disney World has, which kind of shocked me. I figured I'd have to wear a mask outside, but you don't. That's not a requirement right now at Disneyland. I think it actually might be in Universal Studios Hollywood because it's in LA County, and LA County is kind of lost its mind. But I'm super excited to see travel back. I mean, we were in Jamaica right before the pandemic, and honestly, we had a better time this trip. It was a good trip. So, nothing. I didn't feel like we missed out on anything. Wearing a mask in the airport and in an airplane can be annoying, but
we're 2 years into it now, so
yeah,
might as well just have it. It's here for now.
Yeah. I think I honestly, Dave, I think a lot of these things are going to go away. Although I don't mind wearing the mask on the plane. It's a pain in the butt, but when I travel internationally, a lot of times I get sick, and I haven't had that experience as much as I normally have. Just because people are nasty, and
you're not wrong.
And so, and that's been the weirdest thing about all of this for me is it's like, y'all saying you weren't washing your hands before, and there's a few things that are a little. Jamaica has just actually eased they were doing where you had to go sit down with a health officer. Literally, you walk through a scanner that's taking your temperature. You don't even know it. You just keep walking, much like you go into the parks and keep walking. So,
that's cool.
Yeah, man, it was we had a good trip, and I was glad we went, and I would honestly go do the whole thing all over tomorrow.
Awesome.
So travel is back. And this week, I think GECO is opening up at Walt Disney World. We got to do the Disney Broadway thing that was part of the Festival of the Arts. I know Garden Rocks, the concert series, is back. You're seeing more and more things. I will say the parks that the trams still aren't back at it's stupid. They will be back by Disneyland on the 23rd. They just announced that today. They won't be there when I'm there. But they weren't back at Animal Kingdom and they weren't back at Hollywood Studios. And Animal Kingdom can be a bit of a walk.
It can.
And if you're having trouble with that walk and you need some help to figure out what to do about that with someone you're traveling with, send me a message and I'll answer how we've handled that with folks in the past. If you want me to, I'm not going to share online in a podcast, but I'll share with you if you have personal questions and don't want to do the walk. I'll tell you what you need to tell them to get a better walk experience for yourself. Because for some people, it's literally a mobility problem.
Right.
And not everybody may have some mobility issues, but not everybody wants to get a wheelchair for the day. So, well, I think we did this thing, man.
We did.
So we'll have a bunch of Disneyland talk on the next episode.
Probably 2 weeks from now when Terry finally decides to stop traveling.
Well, I'm not going to stop traveling. I'm booking a bunch more travel. Actually, I'm ready to go, dude. I'm ready to get back to, pre-pandemic. Leslie and I vacation once a quarter. That's why we have annual pass. That's why we have DVC. Our DVC points should get us about 5 nights in the studio, 4 trips a year if we want to go. That's kind of how we allotted our points. Now, granted, we've kind of fallen in love with the 1-bedrooms.
It's yeah.
And so it just means we go one time less or stay somewhere differently or book into our trips with a couple of nights at one of the thing hotels or to make the Airbnb one trip or, but yeah, man, it's travel's back. Use those DVC points. You know what was great to see? I know we have a lot of listeners from the UK. It was great to see UK people traveling, man.
Yep. It was great to see Brad Toon asking about getting from Canada, getting to use his points.
Yeah, I've seen and I saw Canadians and Brazilians and the Brits both in Jamaica and in the parks.
Yep. And any of our international listeners, if you are in the parks and you know that we're going to be there around the time that you're going to be there, reach out to us.
Yeah, dude, I love connecting, and I tried to connect with our good friend Sherry. It just we never were in the same. I had several friends that were there, and we got to meet up with some of them. It just Disney this is one of the things that you feel restricted to your plans more so now than ever. And that's another, let people, if you've paid for the park hopping experience, park hopping should begin the minute you want it to. It's time for that to, and there's a few things like that. And that's where the magic that I'm talking about, Dave, there's a few things like that, man, that are like, okay, y'all are just taking advantage of the situation now.
I get it. I truly get it. I know where you're coming from. You know where I'm coming from. I think that, well, we've had this conversation before. We're looking at it at 2 different ways of thinking.
No, my way of thinking is I pay for an annual pass. One of the benefits I get from paying for an annual pass is I get park hopping. You've charged me another $250 a year to use that annual pass, and you're still not giving me what I paid for. So if you want to give me a refund, give me a refund. Don't charge me more.
I get
when it was an issue, right? When there was a capacity issue, when it was a real life problem, I got it. I understand. I had no issue in the beginning. The way that it came back and it scaled up, but now we've kind of been at the same place for like a year, haven't we? Haven't we had park hopping back and not been able to use it? And I'm not the only one that's saying about a year. Other Disney blogs and podcasters are all going, all right, guys, this is just y'all. Because they are definitely filling in all available space. Main Street to watch Enchanted. And then I'll end with a good note. Watching Enchanted from the California Adventure Terrace, because we did the package. And anytime you get a California girl, you got to go outside. But we went outside. If you just watch that fireworks show for the fireworks and ignore the rest and just enjoy the fireworks, it's a great show. In fact, I would actually tell people to stop fooling with seeing the projections. Enjoy wherever you are in the park. Most of the time, you're going to be behind the castle. Stop where you are when it's fireworks times. Look up, enjoy them. Don't worry about the castle. There's nothing happening on the castle. You're not the Microsoft screensaver that's happening on Main Street. Don't worry about that. Just enjoy the fireworks. Stop for the 15 minutes. Don't wait on Main Street for 90 minutes before. Camp out all day. It's not worth it. When they get a new fireworks show for the 100th anniversary of the company that they better get right, stop then. But for now, and Harmonious is definitely a show not to miss.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, the barges are still ugly. They've turned the fountains onto the barges again.
Oh, good.
So the fountains don't have COVID anymore. The reason why the fountains were down is because there was an oxygen shortage in Orlando. So
What?
Oxygen is required to treat water.
Yes.
So because of that, they were trying to be a team player. I appreciate that. It sounds your response is what? Is an appropriate response, but I got it. I appreciated that. Now that's over. Just like the oxygen shortage is over. And the crowds are back in droves. It would actually fix the crowding problem if it felt easier to go to another park.
I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that.
And that's really what Genie Plus is designed. That's what Genie is designed for. If the parks are at capacity, to go, hey, the Genie recommends you go to this park.
Yeah. Anyway. Hey, let me get my one plug in before we close. I've said it before and I'll say it again. DVC Resale Experts, not a sponsor yet. I'm working with them, but I do know one of our listeners has just gotten a new contract with them. Easy to use. Chris and Teresa are amazing people. Tell them you heard about us here or heard about them here, and they'll get you taken care of.
Perfect.
There you go. There's my plug.
There you go. Well, that's more of a sponsorship post there.
I actually had a conversation with them yesterday. Yeah. We need to have them on the show as well to talk points.
Yeah, points, perks, and how to use the most out of your membership.
Hey, and they will love coming on and talk about it.
Yeah, and I'm excited to get an update when I'm there. I know they have just now closed down. They just closed Earl of Sandwich at Downtown Disney in Disneyland.
Boo.
So, well, they're closing it to give you a DVC tower, Dave.
But I like Earl of Sandwich too.
I know you like Earl of Sandwich, but hopefully it'll end up in the Disneyland. Maybe the Earl of Sandwich will move to the Disneyland Tower.
Now okay, best of both worlds.
Yeah, and so I'm excited to look around and see what that's going to be. So, all right, man.
It's my bedtime.
Yeah, my dogs need to go outside. So on that note, we can't let the dogs out because they can't even go to Top of the World Lounge either, like us. But I'm ready to do get some signs and do a sit-in at Top of the World Lounge. I'm tired of making our announcement. Well, we're still not at our namesake, but when they let us, Dave and I will literally probably fly down and go to Top of the World Lounge.
Amen.
Although we'd have to have a DVC stay, so we'd stay wherever. I'd even stay at Old Key West if it got me in the lounge.
I'd even stay at Saratoga.
Yeah, dude. We should do a guys trip and stay at Saratoga, then have you eat crow and go like, "Wow, these ribs are really nice."
No, won't happen,
dude.
Even if I like the room, you'd never know it.
Dude, see, that's the difference in me is when I'm wrong, I'll admit it, and you won't.
I'll admit when I'm wrong most of the time.
Yeah,
but there are hills I will die on, and this will be one. Just like Spider-Man screen ride is a horrible ride. That's a hill I will die on.
Well, also on that note, if you'd like to be a co-host on this podcast, we have an opening. Email me at, and we'll see you next time from the Top of the World.
Bye, guys.